Suicides Put Light on Pressures of Gay Teenagers by Jesse McKinley, published October 3rd, 2010 in the New York Times. When Seth Walsh was in 6th grade, he turned to his mother one day and told her he had something to say. I was folding our clothes and he said, "Mom, I'm gay," said Wendy Walsh, a hairstylist and single mother of 4. I said, "Okay, sweetie, I love you no matter what." But last month, Seth went into the backyard of his home in the desert town of Tehachapi, California, and hanged himself, apparently unable to bear a relentless barrage of taunting, bullying, and other abuse at the hands of his peers. After a little more than a week on life support, he died last Tuesday. He was 13 years old. Here's a map of California, and there's Tehachapi, which is north of Los Angeles and south of San Francisco. The case of Tyler Clementi, the Rutgers University freshman who jumped off the George Washington Bridge after a sexual encounter with another man was broadcast online, has shocked many. But his death is just one of several suicides in recent weeks by young gay teenagers who have been harassed by classmates both in person and online. Here's an image of Rutgers University, their logo, and George Washington Bridge, where Tyler Clementi was last seen. The list includes Billy Lucas, a 15-year-old from Greenburgh, Indiana, who hanged himself on September 9th after what classmates reportedly called a constant stream of invective against him at school. Less than 2 weeks later, Asher Brown, a 13-year-old from the Houston suburbs, shot himself after coming out. He, too, had reported being taunted at his middle school, according to the Houston Chronicle. His family has blamed school officials as failing to take action after they complained, something the school district has denied. Here's an image of the United States, and the red here is Indiana, where Billy Lucas lived. And down here is Texas in Houston, where Asher Brown lived. Here's also an image of the Houston Chronicle, a local newspaper. The deaths have set off an impassioned and sometimes angry response from gay activists and caught the attention of federal officials, including Secretary of Education Arne Duncan, who on Friday called the suicides unnecessary tragedies brought on by the trauma of being bullied. This is a moment where every one of us, parents, teachers, students, elected officials, and all people of conscience, need to stand up and speak out against intolerance in all its forms, Mr. Duncan said. And while suicide by gay teenagers has long been a troubling trend, experts say the stress can be even worse in rural places, where a lack of gay support services, or even openly gay people, can cause a sense of isolation to become unbearable. Here are 2 images of Arne Duncan. If you're in the small community, the pressure is hard enough, said Elizabeth Byard, executive director of the Gay, Lesbian, and Straight Education Network, which is based in New York. And goodness knows people get enough signals about how wrong it is to be gay without anyone in those communities actually having to say so. According to a recent survey conducted by Ms. Byard's group, nearly 9 of 10 gay, lesbian, transgender, or bisexual middle and high school students suffered physical or verbal harassment in 2009, ranging from taunts to outright beatings. In Mr. Clementi's case, prosecutors in New Jersey have charged 2 fellow Rutgers freshmen with invasion of privacy and are looking at the death as a possible hate crime. Prosecutors in Cypress, Texas, where Asher Brown died, said Friday that they would investigate what led to his suicide. In a pair of blog postings last week, Dan Savage, a sex columnist based in Seattle, assigns the blame to negligent teachers and school administrators, bullying classmates, and hate groups that warp some young minds and torment others. There are accomplices out there, he wrote Saturday. In an interview, Mr. Savage, who is gay, said he was particularly irate at religious leaders who used anti-gay rhetoric. The problem is that kids are being exposed to this rhetoric and they go to the school And there's this gay kid, he said. And how are they going to treat this gay kid who they've been told is trying to destroy their family? They're going to abuse him. In late September, Mr. Savage began a project on YouTube called It Gets Better, featuring gay adults talking about their experiences with harassment as adolescents. These are two pictures of Mr. Savage. In one video, a gay man named Cypress tells of his life as a closeted teenager in a small town in upstate New York. The main thing I wanted to come across from this video is how different my life is, how great my life is, and how happy I am in general, he said. Glenda Testone, the executive director of the Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, and Transgender Community Center in New York City, said their youth program serves about 50 young people a day, often suffering from bullying, harassment, or even violence. The three main groups of pivotal figures are friends, family, and their schoolmates, she said. And if they're feeling isolated and like they can't tell those people, it's going to be a very rough ride. Here in Fresno, in California's conservative Central Valley, groups like Equality California have been more active in trying to establish outreach offices, particularly after an election defeat in 2008, when California voters approved Proposition 8, which banned same-sex marriage. In Tehachapi, in Kern County south of here, more than 500 mourners attended a memorial on Friday for Seth Walsh. One of those, Jamie Elaine Phillips, a classmate and friend, said Seth had long known he was gay and had been teased for years. But this year it got much worse, said Jamie. People would say, "You should kill yourself. You should go away. You're gay. Who cares about you?" Richard L. Swanson, superintendent of the local school district, said his staff had conducted quarterly assemblies on behavior, taught tolerance in their classrooms, and had definite discipline procedures that respond to bullying. But these things didn't prevent Seth's tragedy, he said in an email. Maybe they couldn't have. For her part, Miss Walsh said she'd complained about Seth being picked on, but did not want to cast blame, though she hoped his death would teach people not to discriminate, not to be prejudiced. I truly hope, she said, that people understand that. Now that the reading is finished, please record the reading in your spreadsheet. Focus on what you learned from the launch about the main ideas and key points. Remember to summarize, use bullet points, and include the important details. Think about, if you were to describe this reading to someone who hadn't read it, maybe a family member or a friend, what are the three most important things they would need to know?